We return to Gen 3 for another Pokemon Hardcore Nuzlocke. This time we'll be Hardcore Nuzlocking Pokemon Emerald version. The rules are here on screen, and with that, let's quickly begin. We name ourselves Spice as we quickly choose our starter Pokemon Torchic, which I named KDB after Kevin De Bruyne. Time for the first rival battle of the run. He leads with Mudkip, I lead with my Torchic. After a couple of scratches, the Mudkip goes down. We returned to the lab to get the Pokedex, and it was time to get our first few encounters in the routes leading to Petalburg City. I got a Wurmple, Poochyena, and Lotad, and also taught Wally how to catch a Pokemon. The route west of Petalburg City, I accidentally ran away from a Meryl, which is pretty sad. In Petalburg Woods, I encountered a Team Aqua Grunt and took him down with my Torchic. In Petalburg Woods, I got a Shroomish as my encounter, and we quickly headed on to Rustboro City to take on the first gym. While getting our Pokemon to the level cap, Lotad evolved into a Lombre. We initiate the Roxanne battle as she leads with Geodude. I lead with my Shroomish and one-hit KO both her Geodudes. She sends out Nose Pass and I set up Leech Seed and Stun Spore. After a little bit of stalling and Leech Seed damage combined with Absorb damage, ultimately Nose Pass finally went down. With that, we get our first gym badge. A Team Aqua Grunt ran off with some Devon goods, so we promised the Devon worker to get back the Devon goods. The route east of Rustboro City, we get a Taillow as our encounter. After doing a little bit of training, we evolve our Torchic into a Combusken. At Rustov Tunnel, I accidentally run away from the Whismur, wasting my encounter there. We battle with the Team Aqua Grunt and his Poochyena and take it down with my Combusken. We get back the Devon goods while also saving Pico in the process. We return to Devon Corporation to return the Devon goods, and we get tasked to deliver a letter to Stephen Stone at Dewford Town. Before heading to Dewford, we have a rival fight against Brendan. He leads with a Slugma while I lead with my Combusken. A double kick takes down the Slugma as he switches into his Mudkip. Another double kick ensures that the Mudkip goes down as we defeat Brendan once again. We set sail to Dewford, and upon reaching there, we immediately head to Dewford Cave where we get Makuhita as our encounter. At the end of Dewford Cave, we meet up with Stephen Stone and we successfully delivered the letter to him. After that, we decide to prepare for the gym fight. Our Taillow has the ability Guts, which boosts its attack by 50% if it has a status condition. We pre-poisoned our Taillow and decided to head on to fight Brawly. With our Taillow now hitting like a truck, we one-hit KO'd all of Brawly's Pokemon to achieve our second gym badge. We arrive at Slateport City, and the route north of it we get Oddish as our encounter. We do some story things such as deliver the Devon goods to Captain Stern, but we get confronted by Team Aqua. After doing a little bit of battling, we get rid of Team Aqua from the museum. Now we have to head to Marvel City, but before that we have a rival fight. She leads with Lombre while I lead with my Combusken, and Combusken easily takes on the Lombre. I switch into my Taillow for the Marshtomp and go for a couple wing attacks. A quick attack takes down the Marshtomp, and now her last Pokemon is her Slugma. I switch into my Combusken, and after a few double kicks, the Slugma goes down and we beat the rival fight. We enter Marvel City where we see Wally blocking off the gym entrance. We battle him, and after dispatching him, it was time to prepare for the gym. We evolved our Taillow into a Swellow and my Shroomish into a Breloom as we initiated the Watson fight. He leads with a Voltorb while I lead with my Combusken. I go for a couple Embers taking down the Voltorb. I switch into my Breloom to take down the Electrite after a couple of Mega Drains. Out comes the Magneton, and after a couple of Mach Punches it goes down as well. I go for a Leech Seed, taking some health every turn, and after Mega Drain plus Leech Seed, the Manectric goes down even after some Super Potion stalling by Watson, and with that we get our third gym badge. We then get the Strength HM, evolve our Poochyena into a Mightyena, get Numel, Machop, and Swablu as our encounters, and also clear out the conflict between Team Magma and Team Aqua in Meteor Falls. We travel up to the top of Mount Chimney where we find Team Magma and Maxie as well. I led with my Breloom while he led with his Mightyena. I went for a couple of Mach Punches taking down the Mightyena. Out comes the Camerupt, and I switch into my Combusken to take down the Camerupt. After a few double kicks it goes down. I Ember the Zubat and then switch into my Mightyena to take it down, and with that I defeat Maxie. I do a Team Magma fight at the Giant Pass, and I unfortunately let Breloom die, so that's our first death of the run. We traveled to Lawridge Town to face Flannery as the gym leader. I set up 4 bulk ups with my Combusken and immediately double cap sweeped her entire team, which was pretty cool. With that, we have our 4th gym badge. I went to the desert to get Baltoy as my encounter as we head to Petalburg City to face the 5th gym leader, which is Norman. The Norman fight went very similarly to the Flannery fight. I set up bulk up once this time and I swept his entire team except for his slacking, which took 2 hits instead. And with that, on 6 HP, Combusken sweeps Norman. We now get our 5th gym badge as Wally's father enters the gym. He drags us to his home and gives us the Surf HM, which opens up half the region to us. I arrived at Fortree City and made a huge realization. While doing the gym trainers, I accidentally over-leveled my Mightyena and Combusken by 1 level, so I couldn't use them for the gym fight, which is very unfortunate. I boxed both of those Pokemon and put Toy the Baltoy, which I caught from the desert, into my team. I then returned to Marvel City so I can initiate the new Marvel quest so I can get a new Marvel Pokemon. My encounter was a Magnemite. I named it Magneto, got the Thunderbolt TM from Watson, and then evolved my Magnemite into a Magneton. I initiate the Winona fight as she leads with her Swablu while I lead with my Swallow. 2 wing attacks takes down the Swablu as she switches into her Tropius. Another 2 wing attacks takes down the Tropius as I switch into Magneton for the Pelipper. I take it down, switch into Baltoy to absorb the Earthquake due to Levitate, go for a couple of Rock Tomb to lower its speed, and then ultimately sacrifice the Baltoy. Switch into my Swallow, go for a couple of Flies and Wing attacks, and I get a critical hit, which in summary, if I didn't get that critical hit, this run would be over, which is extremely clutch by Swallow. I switch into Magneton for Skarmory as I know Skarmory can't do massive damage to my Magneton and I can do super effective damage with Spark. I take down the Skarmory and with that we got the 6th gym badge. We make our way to Lily Cove City where we have our next rival fight. We defeat our rival easily and make our way to Mount Pyre where our Combusken finally evolved into a Blaziken. Our Mount Pyre encounter was a Duskull as we finally make our way to the top of Mount Pyre to see Archie stealing the red orb. We found out Maxie took the blue orb and also get given the Magma emblem. We head to the Jagged Pass to raid the Team Magma hideout as we see Maxie summoning Groudon. Groudon quickly escapes as Maxie can control it and Maxie challenges us to a battle. We easily dispatch of him as we head to Slateport City to find Captain Stern doing an interview. We head inside the building where we find Archie stealing one of the submarines. We quickly head to the Aqua hideout where we get the Master Ball and find out that Archie didn't actually go there and he went straight to Kyogre. We quickly exit the Team Aqua hideout and head to Lily Cove City to make some final preparations. We arrive at Marvel City to take on the gym. Before taking on the gym, our Duskull evolves into a Dusclops. We initiate the Tate and Liza fight as they lead with Zato and Claydol while I lead with my Dusclops and Lombre. Switch out Lombre into my Mightyena to get the Intimidate off as we take down the Zato. Lunatone goes down as well as Solrock comes out. I switch out my Mightyena into my Swallow to absorb a Earthquake as I go for the Shadow Punch, taking down the Solrock. Last Pokemon they have left is a Claydol and I go for a Will-O-Wisp to have its attack stat. I click Fly on my Swallow to avoid an attack as I Will-O-Wisp halving the Claydol's attack. I get taken out by Psychic, giving us our 3rd death of the run as Blaziken switches in to take down Tate and Liza, giving us our 7th gym badge. We head to the Mirage Tower where we get Trapinch as our encounter. We quickly evolve it into a Vibrava and go take on Team Magma. Up next is the double battle with Steven against Maxie and Tabitha. We go for a bulk up on our Blaziken, raising our attack and defense as we get swaggered, hurting ourselves in the progress. Our next double kick lands as we take down the Mightyena, a camera up as I switch into my Mightyena to get an Intimidate off. I go for a couple strength, taking down the Crobat as the Golbat also goes down. Switch into my Vibrava, go for a couple attacks and its last Pokemon goes down as well as we defeat Maxie and Tabitha. I receive the Dive HM from Steven and go get the Water Stone to evolve my Lombre into a Ludicolo. We head to the Safari Zone where my encounter was a Pikachu. We then went underwater to make our way to Seafloor Cavern where we get confronted by Archie. Archie challenges us to a battle as he leads with Mightyena while I lead with my Ludicolo. A couple of surfs takes down the Mightyena as I switch into Pikachu for the Crobat. Pikachu hits itself in confusion, so I'm forced to switch into my Mightyena, and a couple of strengths later the Crobat does go down. His last Pokemon is a Sharpedo, and I switch into Ludicolo for a single Giga Drain, taking it down. Archie still goes ahead and uses the red orb to summon Kyogre as Kyogre escapes. Archie realizes that Kyogre is too powerful to handle because of the weather, and Team Magma pulls up to warn Team Aqua of its mistakes. The weather is in a bit of a predicament right now, so we quickly head to Sootopolis City where we see Groudon and Kyogre fighting it off. Groudon in his little piece of land, which is pretty funny. We pull up to Steven and he takes us to the Cave of Origin where we meet Wallace. Wallace redirects us to the Sky Pillar where we get Rayquaza to do its job, and Rayquaza then scares off Groudon and Kyogre to stop their battling. After the fight is over, Wallace gives us the Waterfall TM as we now have to prepare for the last gym. I got a Thunderstone and evolved my Pikachu into a Raichu. I also got my Vibrava to level 45, which made it evolve into a Flygon. We then initiate the Horn fight. I lead with my Raichu and go for a Thunderbolt to take down the Luffdisc. I switch into my Ludicolo for the Whiscash and go for a Giga Drain, getting back all of my HP, also getting the one-hit KO. Switch back into my Raichu and go for a Thunderbolt, taking it out. His next Pokemon is a Crawdon, which also gets taken out with a Thunderbolt. His last Pokemon is a Kingdra, and Kingdra's a bit of a struggle, but thanks to a critical hit Thunderbolt, it goes down and we defeat Juan for our last batch in the Hoenn region. We get to the Victory Road where our encounter is an Aeron. It was time for the last rival fight of the run in the form of Wally. He leads with his Altaria as I lead with my Flygon. I go for a couple of Dragon Breath, but it full restores back up. More Dragon Breath makes the Altaria faint as it switches into its Delcatty. I land a Dragon Breath as I get put to sleep and go for the double kick to finish it off. His next Pokemon is a Gardevoir. I land a Blaze Kick and then switch into my Mightyena. Go for a bite until the Gardevoir goes down as he switches into his Roselia next. I switch into my Blaziken for a one-hit KO with Blaze Kick, and I also one-hit KO the Magneton as well, leaving Wally finished. We finally make our way through Victory Road and enter the Pokemon League building where we put Aeron in our team. We quickly evolve it into a Lairon and then Aggron, and then make our final preparations for the Elite Four and Champion. I changed up everyone's movesets and also leveled up all my Pokemon into level 56. I then went on to face Sydney. The Sydney fight was an easy fight as after setting up a single Bulka with my Blaziken, negating the Intimidate from the Mightyena, I swept this entire team with double kicks and blaze kicks. Next up was Phoebe. She led with her Dusclops while I led with my Mightyena. After 2 howls, I crunched this Dusclops and Bayonet as I switched into my Blaziken for the Sableye. I switched again into my Flygon and went for an Earthquake, taking down the Sableye. His next Pokemon was another Dusclops. I went for a singular crunch, tanked an Ice Beam, and switched into my Aggron to deal Iron Tail damage and taking it down. His last Pokemon is a Bayonet as I switch into my Ludicolo and a single Surf takes it out. Up next is the Glacier fight. I lead with my Raichu while she leads with her Celio. A single Thunderbolt makes sure the Celio goes down as she switches into her Glalie. I switch into my Blaziken and go for a Blaze Kick, taking it down. Switch into my Ludicolo to tank a Surf, fake out and go for a couple of Giga Drains. She full restores back up as I go for more Giga Drains to take down the Walrein. Her next Pokemon is another Celio as I switch into my Raichu to go for another Thunderbolt, taking it down. Her last Pokemon is a Glalie. I switch into my Blaziken and go for another Blaze Kick, taking it down. With Glacier taken down, the next Elite Four is Drake. I lead with my Ludicolo and go for Ice Beam, taking down the Shelgon and the Altaria. For the Kingdra, I switch into my Flygon and go for 2 Dragon Breaths, taking down the Kingdra. His next Pokemon is his own Flygon. I switch back into my Ludicolo, take it down with an Ice Beam. His last Pokemon is a Salamence and another Ice Beam takes it down. Last but not least is the Champion. Our last challenge of the run is Champion Wallace. I lead with my Raichu and take down the Wailord and Gyarados with one-hit KOs. Out comes the Whiscash as I switch into my Ludicolo. 2 Giga Drains takes it out as he sends out Tentacruel. I switch into my Flygon and take it down with a Earthquake. I debate on whether keeping Flygon in is a good idea or not, but I settle on switching into my Mightyena, sacrificing it after tanking a couple attacks so I can get a clean switch into my Ludicolo. Switch out to my Ludicolo, go for a Fake Out and a couple of Giga Drains. I then decide I need to switch into my Raichu so I can get the KO. So I decide to sacrifice my Blaziken by switching it in and getting the clean switch into my Raichu. I go for a single Thunder, taking it out. His last Pokemon is a Ludicolo. I stay in with my Raichu and go for a couple of Thunders. I get leech seeded by the Ludicolo as it sets up 6 whole double teams. I get fainted by a Surf, and Flygon miraculously lands 2 flies in a row despite all the double teams, as I now become the new champion of Hoenn and more importantly have beaten Pokemon Emerald as a hardcore Nuzlocke. Throughout the run we had 6 total deaths, 3 of them coming in the champion fight. We lost Blaziken, Mightyena and Raichu to Wallace. I do wish that I could have preserved all 3 of these Pokemon, but that's the fun of the Nuzlocke. You lose some, you win some.